Good evening, classmates. Good evening, Doc De La Cruz. Tonight, along with my classmates, Mr. Escano, Mr. Carumba, Mr. Manuel, we will be going to discuss with you the principles of business economics. Let me start with the marginal and incremental principle. Introduction. The marginal and incremental principles are fundamental concepts in managerial economics, guiding decision making by focusing on the changes that result from a specific action. I have divided into three categories. So, first, we have the focus. This principle centers on the impact of a single unit change in a variable. It examines the effects of one more unit of something, so that is, or for example, one more unit of production, one more unit sold. Second one is the key concepts. Marginal revenue, the change in total revenue from selling one additional unit. The second one is the marginal cost, the change in total cost from producing one additional unit. The third one is the application. Decisions are made by comparing marginal revenue and marginal cost. Second, if marginal revenue exceeds marginal cost, the action is generally profitable. If marginal cost exceeds marginal revenue, the action is generally not profitable. Second is incremental principle. So same with marginal principle. So I have divided it into three. So first we have the focus. This principle is a broader version of the marginal principle. It analyzed the changes in costs and revenues resulting from a specific decision or policy change, which may involve more than just a single unit. Key concepts: incremental revenue, the change in total revenue from a decision; incremental cost, the change in total cost from a decision. The third one is the application. This is used to evaluate decisions like introducing a new product, expanding production capacity, changing pricing strategies. A decision is considered profitable if incremental revenue is greater than incremental cost, a decrease in cost is greater than a decrease in revenue, and lastly, and other related comparisons of changes in costs and revenues. So these are the relationship and the differences between incremental principle and marginal principle. So the marginal principle is a specific case of incremental principle. Marginal typically refers to small, unit by unit changes, while incremental encompasses a larger, more comprehensive changes. Both principles are used to decide if the changes to costs and revenues are beneficial to a business. In essence, both principles emphasize analyzing the changes that results from a decision rather than focusing on total values. So that would be all. Thank you for listening.
The equi-marginal principle, also known as the law of substitution or principle of maximum satisfaction, is a fundamental concept in economics that guides consumers or firms in the optimal allocation of their resources to achieve the greatest satisfaction or utility. It applies particularly in the context of consumer behavior and resource allocation to different uses. The equi-marginal principle states that a consumer will allocate their resources, such as income, among various goods and services in such a way that the marginal utility or satisfaction per unit of currency spent on each good is equal. This principle helps explain how consumers can maximize their overall satisfaction given their budget constraints. This principle assumes that, first, Diminishing marginal utility. As more units of a good are consumed, the additional satisfaction or marginal utility derived from each additional unit decreases. This is also known as the law of diminishing marginal utility. Another, rational behavior. Consumers aim to maximize their total satisfaction by optimizing how they allocate their budget among different goods. Next, budget constraints. Consumers have a limited income, which imposes constraints on their purchasing decisions. And lastly, no interdependence between goods. The utility derived from one good is independent of the consumption of the other. In reality, this is rarely the case, but the principle assumes that the satisfaction from one good does not affect the satisfaction derived from another. When consumers make consumption decisions, they try to allocate their income in such a way that the last dollar spent on each good provides the same marginal utility. This means that consumers should not spend their money in a way that a slight reallocation could increase their total satisfaction. If the marginal utility per dollar spent on one good exceeds that of another, consumers should spend more on the first good and less on the second to maximize their overall utility. This is a good example. Imagine if you are a consumer with a budget of $100, who is deciding between two goods, an apple and oranges. Each apple costs $1, while oranges cost $2. The marginal utility of the apple is 10 utilities, while that of the oranges is 20 utilities. In order to compute it, shown is the formula, and it arrived at equal utility. Hence, the consumer would be allocating their money optimally since the marginal utility per dollar spent on both apples and oranges is equal. If the marginal utility per dollar was not equal, the consumer could reallocate their spending to improve their satisfaction. The principle is also applied to firms or bigger corporations, especially when deciding how to allocate their resources, such as labor, capital, or raw materials, to different production processes. The idea is that a firm will allocate resources in such a way that the marginal productivity per unit of cost is equal across all inputs. For instance, a firm should distribute its budget between labor, capital, and other resources so that the last unit of money spent on each resource yields the same marginal return or marginal product. If the marginal product per dollar spent on labor exceeds that of capital, the firm should invest more on labor and less in capital to maximize its production efficiency. So, what is the importance of equimarginal principle? First is for consumer optimization. It helps in understanding how individuals make consumption choices to maximize their satisfaction given their budget constraints. Next, resource allocation. It provides insights into how consumers or producers allocate limited resources across various alternatives to achieve the highest possible utility or output. This is also the foundation of the demand theory. The principle underpins much of microeconomic demand theory and helps explain the downward sloping demand curve by illustrating that consumers buy more of a good as its marginal utility relative to price becomes greater than other goods. Also, it has policy implications. The principle can guide policymakers in understanding how consumers respond to price changes and taxes, helping them predict changes in demand when external factors like tax increase or subsidies are introduced. Also, it has its limitations and criticisms. First, it simplifies the assumptions. The assumption that the marginal utility of each good can be equally measured and compared is often unrealistic in practice. Many goods and services are complex, and measuring utility is subjective. Next is the interdependence of goods. In reality, goods are often interdependent, such as coffee and sugar or printer and ink. The principle assumes no cross effects, which limits its applicability in many cases. Also, behavioral economics. The principle assumes rational behavior, which contradicts findings from behavior economics where consumers often make decisions that deviate from rational optimization due to biases, emotions, or lack of information. Also, it assumes that the prices are constant, wherein in reality, prices are dictated because of fluctuations and that consumers might need to adjust their allocation in response to these changes. The equi-marginal principle is a crucial concept for understanding how consumers and producers make decisions about resource allocation. It provides a framework for maximizing satisfaction or output by ensuring that resources are used where they provide the greatest marginal benefit. While the principle offers valuable insights into consumer behavior and resource allocation, its assumptions may not always hold true in real-world scenarios. And the advent of behavioral economics has shown that human decision-making often deviates from the strict rationality assumed by classical economic theories. Nonetheless, it remains a foundational concept in microeconomics and helps explain consumer demand, resource allocation, and optimal decision-making strategies. Thank you and good evening.
Good evening, Dr. La Cruz. Good evening, classmates. I'm Christian Escanio, and tonight I'll discuss the philosophies of the opportunity cost principle under the principles of business economics. Have you ever made the decision where you had to sacrifice one opportunity for another? Imagine an entrepreneur deciding whether to open a new cafe or invest in an online food delivery service. The cafe offers community engagement, but the delivery service promises scalability. What would you choose and why? This is the essence of the opportunity cost principle, understanding the value of what you give up when making decisions. By the way, what is an opportunity cost? Opportunity cost is a fundamental concept in decision making. It refers to the value of the next best alternative that you give up when making a choice. This idea is rooted in scarcity. Resources like time and money are limited, so every decision involves a trade off. For example, consider choosing between studying for an exam or spending time with friends. If you choose to study, the opportunity cost is the enjoyment and memories you miss out on with your friends. Similarly, businesses face opportunity costs when allocating resources, such as investing in new technology instead of marketing. Understanding opportunity costs helps us make more informed decisions by considering what we lose when we choose one option over another. It's a tool we can all use to prioritize wisely and maximize value in our lives. What are the key elements of the opportunity cost principle? The opportunity cost principle, as discussed in Managerial Economics by Samuelson, Marx, and Zagorski, emphasizes the following key elements. First, trade-offs. Every decision involves choosing one option over another, which means giving up the benefits of the next best alternative. Scarcity of resources. Resources like time, money, and labor are limited. making opportunity cost a critical factor in decision making. Value of alternatives. The principle highlights the importance of evaluating the value of foregone alternatives to make informed decisions. Number 4, application and business. Managers use this principle to allocate resources efficiently, such as deciding between investing in new projects or expanding existing ones. And lastly, quantitative and qualitative analysis. Opportunity cost can be measured in both tangible terms like monetary value and intangible terms like time or satisfaction. Let's go to the real life scenario. Imagine Jollibee as a budget to expand its operations. It faces two options: open new branches in international markets or invest in upgrading existing stores in the Philippines. If Jollibee chooses international expansion, the opportunity cost is the potential increase in customer satisfaction and loyalty from improved facilities in its home country. Conversely, if it focuses upgrading local stores, it forgoes the chance to capture new markets and grow its global presence. By applying opportunity cost principle, Jollibee evaluates the trade-offs considering factors like market demand, profitability, and long-term brand growth. This helps the company make strategic decisions that aligns with its goals and maximize resource utilization. Let's go to the application. The opportunity cost principle doesn't just apply to business decisions. It's highly relevant in our personal and professional lives. For example, in a personal context, choosing to spend time working on a side project means giving up the opportunity to relax or bond with family. Professionally, a manager might decide to invest in skill development rather than pursuing a job opportunity, with the opportunity cost being the potential career growth that the new role could have offered. By understanding opportunity costs, individuals and professionals can make more informed decisions. It encourages weighing trade-offs thoughtfully to ensure that resources, whether time, money, or energy, are allocated to choices that maximize personal and professional value. In conclusion, opportunity costs remind us that every choice comes with a trade-off: what we choose to pursue and what we leave behind. By recognizing and understanding these trade-offs, both businesses and individuals can make decisions that lead to better outcomes, greater efficiency, and long-term success. So the next time you're faced with a decision, pause and reflect not only on what you stand to gain, but also on what you're giving up. In that total moment lies the key to making wiser, more meaningful choices. Let's embrace this principle to enrich our lives and drive smarter decisions in everything we do. My Bible verse comes from Philippians 4:13. Philippians 4:13 says, "I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me." This verse is a powerful affirmation of faith and reliance on God's strength. It teaches that with God's help, believers can endure challenges and overcome obstacles. The Apostle Paul wrote this while in prison, emphasizing that his ability to remain content, whether in abundance or need, came from Christ's sustaining power. Friends, it isn't about achieving every desire, but finding strength through faith to face life circumstances no matter how difficult.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Zidane Manuel, and I'll be talking about time perspective principle and then discounting principle. So, without wasting much of our time, I'll just go right into it. Though already it's been talked about, but then I'll just give a brief introduction about business economics. And then it says the brief definition is business economics is the study of how business manage resources, make decisions, and respond to market forces. Its relevance will be the principles of business economics would help managers make informed decisions for maximizing profitability and minimizing cost. And then there are a number of key principles of which business economics operates under. And then we have scarcity and choice, opportunity cost, marginal analysis, time perspective principle, and then discounting principle. So of which we'll be talking about the time perspective principle and then the discounting principle. So we'll dive right into it. So the time principle perspective, this talks about the time perspective principle. It emphasizes the importance of considering the time horizon when making decisions, business decisions. It argues the businesses must take into account both short-term and long-term effects of their decisions. And then the key concept under this will be short-term versus long-term decisions. Some decisions may yield immediate returns, while others will show benefit over time. Future planning, understanding the implications of present actions or future outcomes. And then we have the application of the term perspective of principle. We have an example here. The first one will be investment decisions. Examples of this would be capital expenditures that may not generate immediate profit but lead to long-term growth. And another example would be cost-cut measures, which would be layoff that may save costs in short term but hurt company morale and productivity over time. The importance of time perspective principle. It's better forecasting. This helps business forecast future trends and plan accordingly. Risk management allows companies to access risk over time and choose strategies that balance short-term goals with long-term sustainability. Strategic planning, critical for long-term investment, expansions, strategies, and market positioning. And then that will be it for the time perspective principle. So we'll talk about the discounting principle right now. This goes thus as saying the discounting principle is based on the concept of time, value of money. It asserts that the dollar today is worth more than the dollar in the future due to factors as inflation, risk, and opportunity cost of capital. And key concept here would be present, and we have present value, which is in parentheses here as PV. The current value of the cash flow discounted at a particular rate. We also have discount rate, which is the rate used to calculate the present value of future cash flows. And then we have time value of money, and then we have the formula here, as you can see, and then we have the FV as the future value, R as the discount rate, and then T as the time period, and then we also have a set example given that we can just look through. And so from there we'll talk about application of discounting principle. We have an example here also which talks about investment, comparing two projects with different cash flow patterns over time. And another example would be loan and financing decisions, would be understanding how the interest rate affects the present value of future payments. We have the importance of discounting principle, which will be valuation of projects, which helps business compare and evaluate projects with different time frames and cash flows. Investment decisions, critical for determining the true worth of investment, especially long-term ones. We also have risk assessment. This assists in assessing the risk associated with future cash flows. And so there's also a comparison between the time perspective principle and then the discounting principles, as we have a table given here. Under the time perspective principle, we can see that it focuses on long-term and short-term impact. The key concept is future planning and risk management. And then the impact on decision making will be helps business balance immediate versus long-term goals. While for the discounting principles, we have time principle of money, present value of the cash flow, and then also helps evaluate and compare investments over time. And in conclusion, the summary of principles of both. The time perspective principle highlights the importance of considering both short-term and long-term effects, while the discounting principle helps assess the value of future cash flows today. So here are my final thoughts on it, and it will be both principles are essential for making informed, sustainable, and business decisions. Thank you very much.